My great-great-grandpa, Henry Wolf Chief. Now those bundles were supposed to be with the Midibadi, the water busters. That's who's supposed to have them. But through passing down, he ended up with it. And when I say it, those bundles, there's an enshrinement. There's a picture of it too. That in the Way to Independence, in the book Way to Independence, there's a picture of it. My great-great-grandpa Ed is standing by it. But he had acquired those, and all his children were dying. His last one, his name was Frank, left for school at the newly founded North Dakota State University, and he died over there at a young age. I think he was around 21 or 23. And my great-great-grandpa, Henry Wolf Chief, who was his dad, kept praying, "Why are my kids dying? Save my kids. I want my kids to grow old." He said, "We're not supposed to outlive our kids." But it didn't happen. All his kids were gone. And by that time, my great-great-grandpa Ed, and Henry Wolf Chief was his uncle, had been converted. So Wolf Chief didn't want the bundles anymore. He had tried to give them away to different people that he thought they really should belong to, but nobody would take them. There's a lot of reasons why. Some people say they were scared of them. Not that they were going to do anything wrong, but the power that they held. If you had those, and there's been speculation that, he didn't want them, so his kids were dying. But things could really go wrong when those were mistreated or when they weren't taken care of the right. We're not saying he didn't take care of them right, but that's what they could bring. At the same time, though, the person that held those was revered as a very, very strong medicine man. So he finally sold them to Gilbert Wilson, who was a mainstay here on our reservation. That's where all these books come from. Then the Reverends Hall and Case were a part of that, our history and writing down our history, giving verbal accounts and written accounts out back to the people. But there was a well-known art collector in New York. His last name was Hayes, H-E-Y-E-S, that told Wilson, go buy those. Wilson went down and seen him in Minneapolis, and he said, go buy those from him. I want them. So he came back and told Wolf Chief about it, and the conversation with Hayes, and Wolf Chief said, if I sell them, I'm going to want a great deal of money, over $100. Back then, I'm sure that was like having $10,000. He said, I'll only sell them today if things go, if the gods line things up in the way that they should happen. So happened that they did. And there was an outcry, obviously, because those belonged to our tribe. So in I could be wrong, it might be 38, somewhere around there, Arthur Mandan and two others brought those back to our reservation. He reluctantly gave them up, that Hayes, and they brought him back, and it was in February. So when they reached home and they got here, it thundered and lightning on that day, and it was believed that there was 3 human skulls, and it was believed that before they died, that they were the Thunderbirds, and then they came into that life. So they had that type of power. That's what I know about it, and if I'm wrong, I apologize, but I'm pretty sure that from what I've been handed down, that's the way it went.
Can you talk a little bit about what bundles are?
Yes. A bundle is something that belongs primarily or normally to a family. And a family isn't just 5 or 6 people. A family is all. So when I go back to my family, I have to go to Red Kettle's kids. I have to go to Charging Enemy's kids. I got to go to Wolf Chief's kids. I got to go to Bear's Tail's kids, Flyslow's kids. I got also on my dad's side. So that's what a family is. So, and they're cared for by whoever has acquired that. Now, sometimes that person passes on and still has those bundles, and you asked what's in them. It could be in many different things. For this bundle that we're talking about, that I know of, it contained 3 skulls. There were other things in it, but those I know for sure were in there. And there's an enshrinement, and there was a certain place in their lodge that it had to be. And my great-great-grandpa Ed said they couldn't walk in front of it. They had to go behind it. You could never walk in front of it. So they didn't. And back then, you didn't. And even today, when you're told to do something, you don't ask why. You know, when my brother here asked me to come and do this, I didn't ask him why. He's my older brother, so I had to. So that's the way we look at our older people. When they tell you to do something, you don't ask why. You say, okay, yeah, I'll be there. I'll do my best. So anyway, when that bundle was when it was set, it was like I said, it was set in a certain place and couldn't go around it. So let's say if he had it and he passed away, the menfolk of that clan would get together and they'll decide, okay, who can take care of this? And it's not about who can take care of it, but are they able to walk that walk? In the ministry, I have a certain road I have to walk. The same with those bundles. So, and when it comes back to ministry, there are so many similarities between the Bible and between our ways. You know, that number 7 is sacred in the Bible, sacred to the Sioux. Number 4 is for us here, for the Hiradzas. We have a minister on Hiradzas. We have a medicine man, and we have a church. We have a sweat lodge. There's so many similarities. But to answer your question, then that's how that would come down. Where those bundles are, and they're strongly revered as we pray to those and ask for things. So when they prayed to that bundle, asked for rain, it rained. And so that's where hopefully I answered your question there about the bundles.